The Nasser City Massacre, the crime that shook Egypt. Imagine waking up in the morning just like any ordinary day, saying goodbye to your children and heading off to work, but when you return in the evening, you find no one waiting for you. Not your wife, not your daughter, and not your little boy. This is not a fictional story. This is exactly what happened in October 1997 in an ordinary apartment in an ordinary neighborhood in Cairo. It was a crime that did not start with hatred or revenge, but rather with a greedy look at a few pounds and a piece of gold. And it ended in a massacre Egyptians will never forget. Nanis Ahmed Fuad was an engineer living a calm and stable life with her husband, Hani Kamal Eldin. They had 2 children, Hadir, who was not yet 5 years old, and Anas, who was in his 2nd year. They were a simple family with no disputes or enemies. The husband decided to paint the apartment, so he hired 3 workers, Mohammed Zakaria, his brother Saeed, and their cousin Mohammed Khorshid. The workers came to inspect the job, and Nanis went into the bedroom to fetch a portion of the agreed-upon payment. She came out with the money in her hand, wearing some gold jewelry. That small, brief moment was what planted the idea of the crime in their minds. On the morning of October 13th, 2 of the workers returned under the pretext of finishing some incomplete work. Nanis opened the door for them with complete trust. She offered them tea and went into the kitchen. Mohammed Khorshid followed her inside. She tried to scream, but he silenced her with his hand. In that terrifying moment, she spoke her final words. "Take whatever you want." She thought the money might save her, but greed had already extinguished the last remaining shred of humanity in their hearts. Mohammed Zakaria rushed at her with a knife, stabbing her multiple times until she collapsed onto her kitchen floor and drew her last breath. Meanwhile, Saeed was standing outside the building, acting as a lookout. He then went upstairs to join his accomplices, and they began searching the apartment for cash and gold. Suddenly, the 2 children emerged from their room, looking for their mother. With painful innocence, they asked, "Where's my mommy?" One of the men replied that she was in the kitchen and would be out shortly. The children went back to playing. However, the criminals realized that the children had seen their faces and would be able to identify them later. It was then that they made the most monstrous decision. Mohammed Khorshid approached the little girl, Hadir, and strangled her with his hands. Then Mohammed Zakaria stabbed her to ensure she was dead. As for Anas, the boy who hadn't even turned 2, he began to cry loudly. They placed him inside the wardrobe and shut the door on him. But he did not quiet down. Mohammed Khorshid opened the wardrobe, and the terrified toddler fell forward into his arms, as if looking for someone to save him. No one saved him. The man took a scarf belonging to the boy's mother and wrapped it around the child's neck until he fell silent forever. When the father returned. Hours later, Hani unlocked his apartment door just as he did every day. No one greeted him. He found his daughter lying on the floor. He ran through the rooms, blood splattered everywhere. In the kitchen, he found his wife, and when he searched for his infant son, he found his lifeless body inside the room. In a single moment, he lost everything. The arrest and trial. Hani told the investigators about the 3 workers, and an eyewitness confirmed seeing one of them near the building on the day of the crime. The police quickly arrested them. Their cover stories collapsed during interrogation, and they confessed to every detail. Mohammed Zakaria claimed that debts drove him to think about theft, believing the family was hiding a great fortune. Each tried to shift the blame onto the others, but the evidence proved that everyone had participated in the crime. The Cairo Criminal Court sentenced the 3 defendants to death by hanging. The execution was carried out in April 1998. In the end, the 3 of them went to the gallows, breaking down in tears in their final moments. Yet nothing could bring back a mother killed in her kitchen, a little girl who hadn't completed 5 years of life, or a baby boy who was looking for someone to save him in his final moments. Many years have passed since this crime, but it is still told for one reason: to remind us that greed can turn an ordinary human into a monster, and that blind trust can sometimes carry a devastatingly high price. May God have mercy on Nanis, Hadir, and Anas.